Earlier this year, GIVI brought out the latest version of one of its best known aluminium cases, the Trekker Alaska. These are 36 litre panniers, and whilst I've got the black line versions here for testing, they also come in a natural aluminium finish. For any existing GIVI customers who already use the mono key fitting system, you'll be glad to know that these are of course compatible with it. Oh, and you get a third lock so that you can use the same key you get with the panniers for a different top box. Now, there are a few new things to highlight with the latest Trekker Alaska: the release mechanism, the handle, and the hold it easy hook. Firstly, the release mechanism. Now, GIVI have created a brand new cable system for the pannier called the wire lease. Yes, it's wire lease. The cases are detached from the side frame by turning the knob, which pulls the cable and releases the pannier. But you do not need to turn the knob to attach the case. They will just clunk straight on. Secondly, the handle. Now, you may wonder where the handle is because you can't see it on top where you might traditionally expect to see it. It's actually part of the hinge of the lid, but it doesn't make it any less easy to carry. I was a little sceptical initially, but actually it's really quite comfortable. Do make sure though that everything inside is packed right and tight, or it can get a bit jumbled up. However, if you do want the more traditional method of carrying it with a handle on top, a handle can be attached to the 4 belt strap loops built into the lid. And speaking of the lid, it's held open without any wires, so that's pretty nice and neat. It's also possible to get a cargo net, which means you can fill up your lid bit separate to the main compartment. Thirdly, GIVI have also created a mechanical hook system, which they call Hold It Easy, patent pending, which allows the case to be tilted away from the pannier frame without it detaching completely from the frame itself. Now, they have created this to make loading the pannier easier as it tips towards you. And I have to say that in terms of those two ideas, it does do exactly what it says on the tin. For me though, there was one slight downside to the system, which is with the Hold It Easy system attached, it takes a lot more pressure to lock the case into place. And when I say a lot more pressure, I mean you've almost got to sort of slab it in to make sure it's secure. I actually got caught out because I thought I had the case locked. I pulled it and it felt locked, but it came off as I drove away from a campsite. What this did do, however, was give me an opportunity to see how tough the case was as it bounced down the road behind me. Now, I was probably going 15 or 20 miles an hour, and as you can see, any damage to the case, well, it was just some light scratches. It hasn't deformed, and it still attaches to the rack perfectly, so big thumbs up there. A word to the wise when you go to put the panniers on for the first time. RTBI, read the bloody instructions. I didn't and couldn't work out why the panniers wouldn't go on to start with. Now, it's because with the PL or PLR frames, you'll need to pop in the supplied spacer between the tubular frame and the support hooks. It only takes a few minutes and then they pop on as easy as 1, 2, 3. In terms of the look of the pannier, I think they suit the XR pretty well. Now, whether you prefer the slightly more sculpted and more aerodynamic look of the Trekker Alaska versus a squarer and, some would say, more purposeful looking build favoured by some other manufacturers, well, at the end of the day, only you can decide. As they say, beauty is always in the eye of the beholder. For me, I actually really like the look. In terms of waterproofness, a key thing for anybody using these types of panniers, I rode through a fair bit of rain across the weekend that I tested them on, and they kept everything inside completely dry. Now, I've not gone as far as submerging them like we did on our destruction test on Adventure Bike TV a few years ago, but so far it's dry as a tinderbox in there. Price-wise, these officially retail at just over 560 quid in the UK, but with a quick search I found them for £80 less at the time of testing. So in terms of a quick summary, the only real downside for me with these panniers is, and it's not even really a downside, but it's the Hold It In Easy system, because it makes them so hard to put on, which is a shame because otherwise I think they're a fantastic idea. But then again, if you don't want to use them, you don't have to use them. But I do think these are great looking cases, they're functionally strong, and they're really, really easy to get on and off.